Hello, I'm Erica Reeser, the Service Leadership Program's Education and Training Specialist with Kiwanis International. Thank you for joining me to learn why youth protection matters and what role you can play in keeping the youth in our programs safe. Let's get started. Whether you are a district leader, a local club member or officer, Service Leadership's Programs Advisor, or chaperone, you have a vital role to play in protecting our youth. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this important topic. The learning objectives for today's training session are to provide you with examples of why youth protection matters, discuss Kiwanis policies, protocols, and best practices to support safe environments, and where to find additional resources. Some of the policies and examples we talk about may be uncomfortable or triggering for you. At any time, feel free to step away and come back when you feel ready. Why does youth protection matter? Together, we are the stewards for the well-being of hundreds of thousands of young people involved in Kiwanis service leadership programs across the globe. Each of us individually may be responsible for 1, 2, 10, or even 50 young people. SLP members are counting on us to provide educational and fun experiences so they can grow in leadership, service, and general life skills. The foundation of this is safety. You can't grow or learn, or much less enjoy your experience if you feel unsafe. We owe it to these vulnerable populations to protect them. Here we present several compelling reasons youth education on sexual abuse prevention and other abuse prevention is important as evidenced by research. When people know that youth have been educated, they are less likely to target those youth. Everyone needs to know what is okay and what is not okay for adults to do. When adults know information, they can share it with youth, and education increases the number of disclosures, and we know that this leads to interrupting additional abuse and to more youth getting the help they need. What are our obligations? We do have an obligation to equip ourselves as well as the other adults and service leadership programs members with the tools to prevent adult to youth and peer-to-peer abuse. By following the Kiwanis policies, identifying concerning behaviors, mitigating risky situations with supervision, reporting emergencies, abuse, and concerning behaviors sooner rather than later, and finally, modeling safe and appropriate behaviors. So who experiences abuse? Some people ask, is this really a concern for my group? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. Data shows us that the potential for abuse is a concern for every group working with youth. It can happen to anyone without regard to socioeconomic level, ethnicity, gender, or even the size of their community. We also know abuse happens early. The World Health Organization data from 2022 shows that worldwide, 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 13 boys report experiencing child sexual abuse by the time they reach 18. Actual numbers are estimated to be even higher. Who commits abuse? More than 90% of the abusers are people children know, love, and trust, not strangers. This contributes to vast underreporting. In fact, 85% of child abuse victims never report it. These abusers find opportunities where they have privacy with youth, access to them, and control over them. Where does it happen? Abuse can happen anytime. Typically, it occurs in private spaces like one-on-one interactions. That's why we're going to talk further ahead about the rule of threes. It often happens in bathrooms, transportations, hotels, locker rooms. Abuse and inappropriate behaviors can also happen online through texting, sexting, pornography, or social media sites. Predators use one-on-one access to groom and assert emotional control over vulnerable youth. As volunteers in after-school, off-school grounds, and sometimes overnight events, there are opportunities where one-on-one private situations could occur with youth. By educating ourselves and each other, we're better equipped to be aware of those times and spaces and mitigate that access. Abuse really does have far-reaching effects. Experienced sexual and other forms of abuse can result in short and long-term physical, mental, and emotional health consequences, such as PTSD, substance abuse, increased risk for suicide or suicide attempts, increased risk of re-victimization, and twice the risk of intimate partner violence later in life. Knowing more about why youth protection matters, let's clarify our goals. We aim to protect, educate, and engage all Kiwanis members, youth and adult, so that we protect youth from predators, provide them with skills and tools designed to inspire and engage these future leaders to be their best, and to empower and educate the adult members with best practices when working with youth. Kiwanis Youth Protection Guidelines have three main pillars. We call them the ABCs of youth protection. A is to provide accessible, high-quality training and resources for adults who are volunteering. B is to require background checks and policies beyond that. And C is for culture of care, providing service leadership programs members with abuse prevention and mental health education and tools to support their fellow members. As a high-standard service leadership organization, Kiwanis continues to review and enhance these pillars and strategic initiatives. Prevention of potentially harmful situations and abuse starts with education, holding everyone accountable for creating and maintaining a safe environment for youth. The A's in the ABCs of youth protection is accessible, high-quality training and resources. This comes in multiple formats. There are forums and workshops held by clubs and districts. Kiwanis recommends youth protection workshops be held at district conventions or other meetings. Each North American district and several KI Europe and Asia Pacific districts have a youth protection manager. District youth protection managers are a great resource for training materials and to help explain or understand policies. They can also lead virtual or in-person trainings. Accessible club training. Kiwanis policy requires local clubs to review youth protection policies each year. Clubs typically show these slides or this recorded presentation to meet the requirement at an in-person or virtual meeting. Once your club has completed the training, your club secretary will mark it complete on the Kiwanis Connect Secretary dashboard. Another part of our accessible training is individual. Kiwanis offers free, on-demand, online abuse prevention courses. Unlike club-level youth protection policy training, these courses give examples of what abuse may look like and how to handle a situation if a student reports abuse. These courses are taken through nationally recognized Presidium Academy, a learning management system tied to the Kiwanis membership database. The chart in front of you shows which individuals are asked to complete which courses. Those are based on your service leadership program's role. Take a moment to identify your role in the top of the chart. Whether you're a DA or an advisor, perhaps you're a member or a chaperone. The courses are valid for 2 years from the date they're completed, and some are offered in English, Spanish, and French. To create an account in Presidium, go to your Kiwanis member portal homepage and click a link that says Create Presidium Account. If you get an error, it means you probably already have an account in Presidium. You can go directly to presidiumacademy.com to log in. Anytime you have questions or encounter a technical difficulty, email us at youthprotection@kiwanis.org. We'll show you this email address again at the end. Wrapping up discussion of our accessible training and resources, we want you to know that recorded webinars and PowerPoint slide decks that clubs can use to train members can be found at kiwanis.org/youthprotection. There are also policy documents and frequently asked questions about background checks, youth protection, and training options. You'll also see this website again at the end of the presentation. B in our ABCs is for background checks. District administrators, Kiwanis Service Leadership Program advisors, and chaperones to SLP events need Kiwanis background checks. Background checks are valid for 2 years and need to be renewed to remain in a DA or Kiwanis advisor role. We recommend submitting a background check application at least 2 weeks prior to the event needed, or even longer if you have an event with many names to be submitted. There may be requests for additional supporting documentation. Kiwanis contracts with Safe Hiring Solutions' Safe Visitor system to provide an online application portal for U.S., Caribbean, and other members to secure a background check. SLP advisors are charged $35, and any remaining amount owed is subsidized by Kiwanis youth programs. Please note this is a new amount as of October 2023. Regular Kiwanis members or chaperones may be charged additional fees depending on court record costs in your state, province, or country. Clubs often background check multiple volunteers to have backup chaperones, especially during fall rally time and district conventions. There are multiple ways to begin the background check application process, so the Kiwanis level of screening can be done by Safe Hiring. Depending on which country you live in, your country may have a slightly different law or process around background checks. U.S. members can self-initiate a link or ask their club secretary to send a link to the online background check application. In the Caribbean, South America, Europe, Asia, and the Pacific region, individuals or secretaries can request an individual link to start an online application by emailing backgroundchecks@kiwanis.org. We'll see this email address at the end of the presentation. Canada and France, however, do not allow third-party search, so Safe Hiring is not able to screen records. As an alternative, those members are asked to visit their local police station to get a vulnerable sector check, this is what it's called in Canada, and send it to Kiwanis International for verification by email or post. To cover the cost of the background checks, there are 2 options. Some clubs ask members to pay for their background checks, while other clubs pay directly. Clubs wanting to pay for the background check have 2 options. You can either have the club treasurer reimburse the fee that the member has paid, or set up a direct billing account for your club with Safe Hiring Solutions. Once the account is created, Safe Hiring will directly invoice the club when a background check is initiated. Beyond is the other B in our ABCs. So let's discuss some policies beyond background checks and training. Chaperone to youth ratios. Kiwanis policy requires a certain number of chaperones be involved with service leadership programs events. The number of chaperones required is determined by the number of youth in attendance. For a single day event, there needs to be a minimum of 1 background checked adult per 50 youth. For an overnight event, that changes to 1 adult per 10 youth, which breaks down to 1 adult male to supervise no more than 10 youth males, and 1 adult female to supervise no more than 10 youth females. Please note adult chaperones must be 21 or older. CKI members younger than 21 can volunteer, but cannot be an official chaperone nor counted in the ratio. Please note on the topic of overnights, adults must not share sleeping quarters with youth, except with their own child. The previous slide showed Kiwanis policy, and we also want to share best practices to guide your decisions in addition to that. Regardless of a minimum ratio, it is best practice to always have 2, 3, or more background checks adults at each activity. In identifying the right number for your event, consider your ability to supervise and monitor the youth and the various aspects of the activities and their free time, your ability to check in with members regularly, and in case there's an urgent situation with one youth or a smaller group, whether there's availability of other adults to lead and monitor the rest of the group. The answers to this will change depending on the activity, the setting, the agenda, and other factors. Remember, having 2, 3, or more adult chaperones discourages inappropriate and one-on-one engagement, and it can help hold youth members and other advisors and chaperones accountable to the code of conduct and other program guidelines. Like with in-person activities, whether you have 3 members or 80, we advise that you have at least 2 to 3 background checked adults involved in virtual programming. Kiwanis has a policy about social media and electronic communications with youth. Never initiate, follow, friend, or like posts or pages of individual youth. When connecting with youth on social media, do so via the Service Leadership Program's club page or account, like the Key Club page or the Builders Club account, and never from your personal account. Remember that everything on the internet should be kept professional, as it is a public forum. We love seeing and posting photos of Kiwanis youth. These should only be shared on the club page or account and not on a personal page. Remember the rule of 3 and avoid one-on-one contact online just as you would in person. This includes via email or text, where there should always be at least 2 adults copied. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received close to 85 million online files containing sexual child abuse material in 2021. For this and other reasons, we want youth to know we expect their online and electronic interactions with adults to remain public. Sometimes your activity will involve transporting youth. Again, follow the rule of 3. Make sure there are always 3 people in a car. When possible, youth should ride in the back. Make sure you have a parent or guardian approval for the transportation, that you are following all local traffic safety rules and laws, and that all drivers, of course, know not to use text or the phone while driving. At any Service Leadership Programs event, possession of prescription and non-prescription medications is only allowed with written permission from a parent or guardian. During overnight stays, we recommend you keep the signed medical forms safe and accessible. You want to know where they are in case you need them in an emergency. Reporting when you see concerning behavior could prevent further harm and save other children from abuse, and it contributes to the safety of members and clubs. If you observe troubling behavior involving a youth at a Kiwanis event, or become aware of an illegal or potentially unsafe situation for a young person at a Kiwanis event, even if you learn about it after the event is over, you must immediately contact the event leaders. If the abuse is illegal or an emergency, do contact law enforcement. Also follow all local, state, provincial, and federal reporting laws. An additional tool for reporting abuse is the Youth Protection Helpline. Kiwanis partners with Presidium to provide this toll-free helpline that Kiwanis youth and adult members, advisors, or parents can call and report a policy violation or abuse. You can also call to seek guidance if you're unsure the behavior was inappropriate or abusive. Trained professionals will talk with you about the most appropriate next steps. They will make sure the Kiwanis Youth Protection Team is looped in and know that callers can choose to be anonymous. Here, before we move on to the C of our ABCs, we revisit key takeaways from the policies in today's training. Service leadership programs, district administrators, advisors, and chaperones followed these youth protection policies. Start with a clear and current Kiwanis background check. Review youth protection policy annually, as policies are updated annually. Of course, make sure to follow all policies. We ask you to complete online abuse prevention courses through Presidium Academy. DAs and advisors complete 6 courses, while chaperones complete 3. Finally, remember that youth members should be monitored and supervised in accordance with the policies. Report any policy or behavior issues as soon as they happen. You can also contact the club's advisor or Service Leadership Programs district administrator who can elevate it to appropriate youth protection staff. Rounding out our ABCs, we have C for culture of care. Kiwanis saw a new way to develop resources and training information to support students helping other students in distress. Key Club and CKI trustees and members continually express how important it is to promote and share mental health resources as young adults face pressures from school, home, and activities. The Culture of Care curriculum was designed to provide youth programs members with meeting agendas and facilitation guides to promote healthy boundaries in relationships and prevent bullying in their own clubs. Kiwanis offers workshops using interactive Culture of Care group activities and curriculum at Key Club and CKI events like Governors and Administrators Training and conventions. With the Culture of Care, Kiwanis has partnered with other organizations to promote mental health and share self-care resources. CKI partners with Active Minds to change conversation about mental health on college campuses. Key Club partners with Erica's Lighthouse Beacon of Hope to deliver depression education, teen empowerment, and teen mental health awareness. Builders Club and K-Kids partners with Project Happiness to provide student handbooks, videos, and a pay it forward activity. Finally, we wrap with some take-home tips for club success. Secretaries should continuously monitor the background check status of their club's Kiwanis advisors, which is found in Kiwanis Connect. Clubs should create a plan in case they need to replace Kiwanis advisors. And we want to remind clubs that you can budget for the background check expenses. The Youth Protection website has useful information for you to get further guidance and read frequently asked questions about specific situations and activities. I encourage you to visit the site if you think of a question after you finish viewing the recording. Of course, you can always reach out to the Youth Protection team at youthprotection@kiwanis.org, and we'll be happy to talk with you and address any questions you might have. Thank you very much.